We've lined up the top stars from Hollywood and from all over the world to entertain you on a giant screen with a few colorful motion pictures you've been hearing about and reading
It's
about.
showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
We're delighted to have you with us. They're driving theater.
You'll find something to please you to add to your evening's enjoyment.
Is pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
Good evening, everybody. It is 8 o'clock. It's Monday night. It is August. It's August now. August 5th, 2024. You are tuned in to the Drive-In Speaker Box podcast. I'm your host, the Boom Operator.
I'm the Grip.
And thanks for that sub over on Twitch, Merle. Appreciate that, man. But thanks for joining us wherever it is you join us. If you are joining us live, we do broadcast this show live over on our Twitch. We do a Twitch pre-show a half hour before the show. We talk about all kinds of crazy things, and not always movies, philosophy, wrestling, art, whatever. But we also stream this on Facebook and YouTube live as well. And if you're not into watching our faces or getting into these comment sections over here and being interactive with the show, you can just listen to this wherever it is you get your podcasts. Just search for the Drive-In Speaker Box podcast. We got a show this week. I went and saw the new M. Night Shyamalan family joint Trap. And
family.
His daughter is all up in that movie. We're going to talk about it later in the show. That will be in the review segment of the show. If you're new, if you're joining us, we have several segments of the show that hits the halfway point, despite the title being Let's Review Trap. But first up, let's talk about some news, man. It's been a week. Some stuff happened. It's time. It's time to talk about what happened in the past week. Sad news. I think we'll just go ahead and get it out of the way. We'll start. People have been talking about this. David Lynch, if you are a fan of our show, it means you're probably a fan of cinema. And, you might like David Lynch. Fantastic.
Might be into the weird stuff.
Yeah, a little bit of that weird stuff. He is, heralded as one of America's greatest filmmakers. And he is probably one of America's greatest smokers. And he loved cigarettes, absolutely loved cigarettes, but had been diagnosed last year with emphysema, and now it is so bad. Yeah, so bad. He can't breathe.
I saw that he said that he will no longer be able to do directing in person.
Yep.
But is open to working remote.
And what I think the quote, and I'm going to be a little tacky right now, but I want to be like, how can you direct a movie from your fucking cell phone? If you remember that famous video of where he's like talking about people watching movies on cell phones.
You've talked about that.
Played it. Hey, what's up, Kurt? Thanks for tuning in. And I love that thing because it's true. It's like, why would you watch a movie on your cell phone? But then, the counter is like, how can you direct a fucking movie on your fucking cell phone?
What's funny about that? I've watched some David Lynch stuff on a phone or tablet, and it's not like, I don't feel like I'm really missing out on too much.
David Lynch is an amazing dude. He's a talented filmmaker, pretty talented artist, actually. I've got some old David Lynch art shirts that I made. And he, a really interesting dude, lover of the film industry. And, I hate to see this because, he as far as old dudes that still direct movies go, he's still got some years. But, cigarettes are bad, y'all. That's what it comes down to is stop smoking, kids. It's bad for you. It's killing David Lynch. It stinks. You don't look as cool as you think you do. There you go. So sad day. David Lynch probably not ever going to direct again. He'll probably executive produce, I'm sure. There'll still be Lynch projects, but probably getting behind the camera and calling action is a thing of the past. So sad day. What you got? You want to?
Well, I had that. I also had talking about movie sets. Vin Diesel posted some on the set video of him on Riddick Furia.
Oh, the new one that we talked
Yeah,
about.
the new one. So filming starts soon, and he kind of showcased that they're using the volume filming, which is that thing that Disney has really showcased for like the Mandalorian and stuff.
Which is just on a huge video box.
Yeah, they have the big curved screen behind them. So instead of having a green screen or blue screen behind them, they have the video input so that the actors can feel like they are acting in the environment, and everything's caught in camera as far as what's on that background screen. So that's something that'll be working to help film Riddick Furia. Some of that stuff looks okay. It looks better than some of the blue screen stuff.
It is surprising technology. I will give it that.
But
it's better than you think it's going to be.
Yeah, it's captured in camera, but it's also 2D that's being captured in camera to represent 3D, which is really weird. But yeah, so there's that. We got some a shot of Kitana's weapons for Mortal Kombat 2. More and more stuff about Mortal Kombat 2 is coming out to ramp it up. Cole Young is still there, which is garbage. That old, what's his name? Tan. I can't remember his first name.
I stopped playing Mortal Kombat.
Well, this has nothing to do with the video games.
Oh, gotcha.
It's the WB movies. Because Cole Young is a character that is clearly not a Mortal Kombat character with a name like Cole Young. Very bland and dumb, just like his character. But more is coming out about that, about how, what's his name? The writer of Rohan, Billy Butcher. Carl Urban. Yeah, Carl Urban.
Judge Dredd.
Yeah, he's going to be not my Judge Dredd.
A good Judge Dredd, though.
He's not bad. But he's going to be a different style Johnny Cage. So now we got Kitana and stuff like that. So Liu Kang wasn't really much of a big deal in the first one since he was not the main character. But instead Cole Young was. So we'll see how Liu Kang and Kitana work together in this new one. I like Mortal Kombat. I like the stories that they've been doing in the new ones. I did not like the first or this latest movie.
Okay, I thought you were about to say you didn't like the first original movie. I was be like, that's
no, the first movie was
one.
so cool.
That's the only
because
good one.
when I was a kid, I was like, dude, Mortal Kombat, and it had the soundtrack that no one will ever forget. Johnny Cage punches Goro in the nutsack and adds Sub-Zero freezing people. Mortal Kombat movie, the first one from the 90s, was very cool.
Was good.
You had the Highlander as Raiden. Yeah. What's not cool about that? Velvet Santa says, and yet no NBA Jam movie. NBA Jam as a movie would be sick. Like, he's on fire. Slam.
I mean, it is Space Jam is close enough, you know.
Also something very interesting, since we have a couple of wrestling fans in our audience right now too. While nothing is set in concrete about the Chris Hemsworth Hulk Hogan movie that we've been promised forever, despite Hemsworth being like, yeah, I can't wait for it to happen. I really wish that this would really get underway. I'm ready to be
Hulk Hogan needs to stop making me hate him, though.
Yeah, like he comes out with Real American Beer, and I'm calling everywhere because it's not in Arkansas yet.
And then he comes out as like Camacho in, that movie.
Yeah, I called everywhere in Missouri when it was the day it was released in Missouri. I'm like, can I get Real American Beer? Can I get Real American Beer? I know it's going to be gross. I know it's going to be nasty light beer, but I want to own it. I want to have
like
those
a Hulkamaniac.
I want to have the can of Hulk Hogan beer. And then, yeah, he did what he did, and publicly. Yeah, we don't need to talk about it.
I mean, it was like we all forgave him for the sex tape. Like that,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was the one that leaked it.
Yeah, so we'll get.
Okay, go.
I mean, no, Gawker leaked it, which is what we're going to talk about.
But I'm
in a
pretty
second,
sure
but
he gave it to Gawker.
the majority of my life, especially as an adult, I've told people that no matter how big I get, I will always be a little Hulkster. And those are now words that I'm like, there's been times where I've supported Hulk Hogan because he's the Hulkster, and now I question everything.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
is he turning into the NWO Hulkster?
The heel. He's Hollywood.
He's Hollywood Hogan.
But he's DC Hogan.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like this timeline.
Washington, D.C.
This current timeline Hogan. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, the team that brought you Air on Amazon about Air Jordans and stuff, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon are now supposed to be bringing us the movie Killing Gawker, about the Hulk Hogan versus Gawker trial based on the book Conspiracy, Peter Thiel, Hulk Hogan, Gawker, and the Anatomy of Intrigue. And there is talks that Affleck is supposed to portray Terry Bollea.
Oh, Ben Affleck.
Can you imagine Ben Affleck?
Ben
with
Affleck
the
can
mustache.
never stop disappointing me. Like
And Ben Affleck's like, let me tell you something, dude. Hulk Hogan's dick is a foot long, but Terry Bollea's is a teensy wiener, brother.
I love Ben Affleck so much.
Yeah, Ben Affleck's awesome. But him portraying Hulk Hogan in the movie, is it going to be like Weird, the Al Yankovic story?
Yeah, that's what Dina just said on Twitch. She
is
says, I
it?
hope it's like that
Yeah.
Weird Al movie. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So,
Well, speaking of other movies, I meant to mention this a minute ago, but movies that are cool ass movies that you all need to watch. Godzilla -1 minus Color just hit Netflix this week.
oh, damn. That means we
So-
finally have it here. Did we ever get it we didn't get it in the theater.
For like a
in the
day.
US.
We did. I think we got it like for a day here in Northwest Arkansas, where we broadcast from. But yeah, just hit Netflix this week. It's out there. If you've not seen it, the only Godzilla movie to ever get an Oscar. Absolutely worth watching. I have not.
So good.
It's so good. I did not see the minus color.
I haven't seen the black and white one.
I'm probably gonna have to go back and watch it. So
And
looking forward to that.
it's available. If it's not out on DVD or Blu-ray already, it's due out soon. It's very good.
Yep.
Godzilla -1 is very good.
Let's see. In other news, Inside Out 2 just kicked the Avengers out of the all-time box office top 10.
Dang, Disney on Disney violence.
Yes, it's wild. Inside Out 2, of course, Deadpool and Wolverine just blowing things out of the water in terms of top 10. But yeah, Avengers was holding the number 10 spot for it had $897 million worldwide. Inside Out 2 just took it over, and it's in 929.
That's the foreign gross.
Oh, excuse. I thought I pulled worldwide.
No, worldwide's the furthest one on the left.
Worldwide. Okay, yeah, foreign gross. Worldwide gross, $1.5 billion. Inside Out 2 hitting $1.55 billion. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. The Lion King, I can't believe that got in there. And that's the remake.
CG Lion King.
The stupid
yeah.
Lion King. But, that means there's 2 more Avenger movies in the top 10 that they need to go ahead and topple. But that end game is $2.7 billion. I don't think that's moving anytime soon.
Yeah, that was the Avengers, the original.
That was Endgame. Are we talking about the original?
The one that got booted out.
That was the one that got booted out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's crazy. Way to go, Pixar, I guess. Like, and if you think about it, okay, let's go through, for those of you that don't know the all-time top 10. Most of these are Disney productions, right? Right now, number 10, Inside Out 2, Disney. The Lion King CGI, Disney. Jurassic World, that's Universal. Number 7, Spider-Man No Way Home. That one's tricky.
Disney collab
with Sony. Number 6, Avengers, Disney. Number 5, Avengers Infinity War, Disney. Number 5, Star Wars Force Awakens, Disney. Number 4, Titanic, which I guess technically now is owned by Disney.
It's New Line, wasn't it? Wasn't Titanic New Line?
I think.
Or was it Fox?
I think it's Fox, which is now Disney. Avatar, The Way of the Water, that's not Disney. No, that is
that
Disney.
was,
That
yeah.
was Disney.
The Way of the Water
was. And number 2, Avengers Endgame, Disney. And number 1, that Avatar, which was now Disney, but when it was made, it was not Disney. But it's Disney now.
Was that New Line also?
I think that was 20th Century Fox.
Yeah, okay. Avatar seems like a Fox.
Yeah, it was 20th Century Fox. Yep. And what was the other one we were confused about? Titanic?
Yeah, Titanic.
That one was originally Paramount.
Oh,
Yeah,
damn.
Paramount.
Okay.
So, yeah, really, the Titanic's the only one that is not in the Disney wheelhouse now, which is just crazy. It's too much power. But anyway, all right. What else? You got any other news bits?
Yeah, my last thing here is that Horizon Part 2 has got a release date.
Theatrical?
Not
Or
yet.
streaming?
Not yet. It's release at Venice Film Festival. From the article I was reading, they're going to use audience interest at Venice to gauge what they are going to do with Part 2. Whether it's going to be streaming, VOD, or even possibly try again at a theatrical release.
Oh my gosh! You know what? Like these studios are so. Everybody's so nervous to do anything without like it being a surefire guarantee. Just let it. Just do it. Just do it. You already planned. Just do it.
Yeah, it was already planned. You already budgeted. Put it in the theater. You might be surprised.
Isn't that what Sheila? But just do it.
Yeah. But September the 7th, so a month from now, I think that's the first weekend of September, maybe. It's a Saturday that will be airing at Venice Film Festival, and then they'll go from there to figure out what they are going to do with Part 2, which after watching Part 1, I really want to see. I want to see how the stories in that play out and where they go. I know that Kevin Costner can make some good stories. There's a lot of things that I need to see.
I mean, you know, it just shows that good movies don't always get what they deserve, you know, and making good movies is not necessarily what the theatrical audience experience now really kind of is craving for it. They say they want good movies, but then they're not willing to take a chance on something that doesn't have Ryan Reynolds whipping his dick out and
I was about to say,
shooting guns.
I've seen so many. I watched so many different movies, and I everyone that's friends or family knows that I watch hella movies, right? But out of all of them, everyone's more interested in asking me. They're like, "Did you see Deadpool?"
Yep.
I'm like, "Well, of course I did." And they're like, "Well, did you like it?" I'm like, it was okay. It was fine. I didn't like it as much as the other two, and I think it could have benefited from having less dick and butthole stabbing action, more dialogue for Wolverine than fuck Bub, and it could have really benefited from having some weight and an emotional core that the other two movies had that this one lacks. And everyone's like, well, I really liked it. And I'm
They're like,
well,
it was
of
great.
course.
It was the best one.
It's designed.
Too many. I mean, they stabbed so many buttholes, and that was the greatest.
It's designed to be a lowest common denominator. Make sure that more people like it than not.
Which is very telling of the state of humanity.
Yeah, and it doesn't have anything. There's no substance there.
But we are a society of people that want lack of substance, and I think that that's very telling, you know, and it's troublesome for cinema. And
I think that's the hard part of Horizon is that Horizon was set up to be a longer form storytelling saga. It's set up to have different stories that play out over different times and even different eras, because the Horizon thing is supposed to be that it shows the progression of the American West from an uninhabited spot on a river to a full-blown civilization, and the taming of the West, and what that meant for all of the peoples involved, for the natives that were using that as a hunting ground, and the original settlers that are killed by those people, and then the other settlers that came in that ran those people off, and how American history happened. And everyone's like, screw that, dude. And they're like, did you see that Deadpool literally fucks a man with Wolverine claws while he stabs another one in the dick and makes it look like they're sexing via his Wolverine claws?
It's so rad, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I had lunch with my mom today, and she asked me, she was like, did you see Deadpool? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, what'd you think? I was like, it's pretty funny. I think you'll love it. And she goes, what does that mean? And I go, I just think you're going to really love this movie. And she's like, but what, did you like it? And I go, it's all right, but I think you'll love it. And
that's the hard part, is like, I didn't dislike it, but there's not anything there that I'm going to praise.
Right. And it's like, I know that I'm not trying to be like rude or anything, but I know that it's a movie that she would absolutely, like, she will laugh at every single butthole that gets stabbed. Like, she's going to think that's amazing. And it's not that my mom has a dumb sense of humor. It's just I know that that's what she likes. And
after the fourth or fifth dick stab, I was kind of really over it,
Truth. Anyway, all right. Well, moving forward, speaking of Deadpool and Wolverine, it just surpassed Passion of the Christ as the #1 R-rated box office record.
Wow.
It is humongously successful. It's the most popular, or the highest grossing X-Men movie, which that's not a big stretch. The highest grossing R-rated movie of all time. And it was, let's see, Joker. Let's see, here we go. Okay, caveats. First of which, it still only number 3 worldwide. We're talking domestic.
Mm-hmm.
Second place is held by Oppenheimer, and Joker has the #1 spot currently with 1.07 billion.
I forget that Oppenheimer's an R-rated movie. They gave it to it because of the bomb.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So it's, but yeah, it's getting there. And I think that it's going to get there because it does not seem like the hype behind Deadpool and Wolverine is stopping anytime soon. So I assume it's probably going to be out for 2 more weekends. And if you go and look at the numbers this past week, it did have a significant drop, a pretty trackable drop, 54% drop from last week, which is pretty normal. And I think usually the third was going to be like another 30%. But if reviews are still going good, it will probably coast for another 3 or 4 weeks. But if you look at some of these movies, it's particularly successful comic book movies, they tend to stick around in theaters for up to 7 weeks. We're talking it's only second weekend right now, and it's killing those records. So I think it's gonna make its way up to the top. It's gonna stab that #1 position right in the pecker, and yeah, would that call it peckering order?
Wow.
Yay, womp womp. All right. Well, do you have any more news, or we need to jump in what's coming out in theaters this weekend?
That's pretty much it for what I got right here.
Okay. Well, this weekend there are some new movies coming out. Believe it or not, last weekend was kind of light because everybody was like, "Oh, good, what do we do? Deadpool, Wolverine." And then M. Night Shyamalan's like, I'll put me in, coach. The twist is he didn't care about like what weekend he came out with his movie. And this week is coming out. We've got from director Justin Baldoni. It's starring Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. It is called It Ends With Us. It's adapted from the Colleen Hoover novel of the same name. It's main character Lily overcoming a traumatic childhood to embark on a new life. A chance meeting with a neurosurgeon sparks a connection, but Lily sees sides of him that remind her of her parents' relationship. It's just romance based on, of course, they put it all over the poster, the global best-selling phenomenon. Not a book, it's a phenomenon. That's coming out.
I think I read an article that said that was like a young adult novel, and they aged them up for the movie. So it was probably a really creepy book.
But it was a global phenomenon.
Oh, okay, sure. I've never heard of it.
Let's see. So that's coming out this weekend. Kurt over on Twitch said, Trap was mid. We're going to cover that here in just a minute. I'm going to jump into my review after we tell you what's coming out in theaters this week. But also coming out in theaters this week, which I think is going to have a difficult time capturing audiences the way that they want it to, mainly because Deadpool and Wolverine I think are going to be stealing a lot of the thunder of the same type of visuals and humor, and this is the Borderlands film. It's based on the video game of the same name. It is directed by Eli Roth, I'm going to go see this movie because, say what you will about Eli Roth, however you pronounce his damn name, he's not always... he's very hit or miss, but I like the way he thinks about movies. He loves film. He is an encyclopedia of horror. He, The House with the Clock in its Walls, I'm going to give him a pass on that one. Thanksgiving was cool. Death Wish was cool. The Green Inferno, I'm going to, not my jam. But, I get it that everybody thinks that's kind of cool. And in Hostel, everybody liked Hostel. Again, not my jam.
Everybody did not like Hostel. I
but
worked
you.
at a theater when that was on, and I kept having I was a projectionist, so I had to go in and watch, and I had to see all the gore murder.
Mm-hmm. Well, and somebody in the comments just said Cabin Fever was fun. Cabin Fever is a really good movie, actually. And that was one of his earliest. I think that was his directorial debut, if I'm not mistaken.
What is it that little kid screams at the people at like the rest stop or whatever? He's like, pancakes! Like screams. And there's that like scene online. You can watch the video of that little kid just screaming at people. Yeah, pancakes. It is pancakes, yeah. But dude, I had a friend that loved horror movies growing up, and he just got big tickled about that scene all the time. As soon as that movie came out, I was like, dude, you got to watch this. And he would just put on the movie, and he's like, pancakes!
I mean, admittedly, pancakes roll. You should always get that excited.
Did he like bite someone after? He was like, pancakes!
Yeah. Vince commented on Twitch. He says, when he was on Quentin Tarantino's podcast, it was like two encyclopedias talking. And yes, like there's a really good episode of The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs where Eli Roth comes in, and it's just, I mean, he's a database. But anyway, Borderlands is coming out this week, and I mean, it has a crazy ensemble cast. It's got Cate Blanchett, Kevin Hart, Edgar Ramirez, Jamie Lee Curtis. They're Jack Black is in it. We were just talking about him in the pre-show. There's a lot of people in this movie, but I think that the hype behind it has been sort of dwindled and fizzled because of everybody going, oh my gosh, Deadpool, Wolverine, and Borderlands is rated PG-13. I think maybe if they had made it rated R, I mean, think about all the people that play Borderlands. Borderlands is probably rated R. You know, there's probably a lot of violence. There's a lot of, whatever. Why make a rated PG-13 movie about a game that's rated R?
Well, and I think some of the people in it don't exactly scream Borderlands or action movie even.
Right.
I mean, Cate Blanchett and Jamie Lee Curtis, you're just like, yeah, that's who we need in a video game movie about people.
I will watch Jamie Lee Curtis do anything. Like, I'll watch her eat pancakes. And
yeah, but she's going to need her Activia.
True, but she's so good. She's so versatile. She can play any role. She's super cool.
I mean, I like Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that
they don't scream.
Nobody in this movie makes you be like, I want to watch this action movie or this video game movie. You're just like, those are a handful of people that I know and a handful of people that I don't. Honestly,
the fact that Kevin Hart's in it makes me not want to see it, but I will still go see it. So, anyway, all right, that's also coming out, and then probably the third movie that's going to get a wide release and not on this super small stuff is Cuckoo. Cuckoo is directed and written by Tillman Singer. It's about a 17-year-old girl forced to move with her family to a resort where things are not as they seem. Looks very creepy. The trailers to this look like a lot of fun. Looks like a good solid horror movie. A lot of up and comers here. If you want to hit that emoji over on Twitch.
Well, talking Hostel, it's like a Euro thriller.
Yeah. And I think it looks pretty cool. Neon is putting this one out. Neon has been putting out some pretty cool horror movies lately. It's like Neon and A24 are like throwing out some really, really cool titles in the horror. Like everybody was like Blumhouse, but then A24 and Neon are like, you know what? I think, Blumhouse got a little too big for its britches, and Neon's coming up and picking up some of that slack. So, yeah, that's what's coming out in theaters this week. So you got a lot to choose from.
Vince also posted that Ponyo for the Ghibli Fest is going on right now. I think we'll talk about Ponyo when we get to the box office roundup there. There is Point Break Riff Tracks. Is it original Point Break, or is it the one with the dude?
Nope, it's original. I saw a trailer for it in the theater this week.
What's there to riff on?
They're
original
like,
Point
the
Break?
commercial was like Point Break with jokes, and it did not make me want to watch it. Like,
there's nothing to joke about.
It's a good movie.
It's a good movie.
And so, hot take, especially because I know a lot of people that I know are big Mystery Science Theater 3000 fans. People that watch the show are probably Mystery Science Theater 3000 fans and Riff Track fans. I am going to hot take and say I don't think those guys are that funny. Like, they have done some really incredible stuff. Don't get me wrong. But for the amount of celebration we give what they their body of work, they're not always that funny. You know, I've sat, like, if I sat with a team of writers and watched a movie 6 times and came up with jokes to deliver, I have done it live and it was funnier than some of these riff tracks. And you know, they're sitting there with storyboards and like going, okay, we got to make this land. And like all of this work and all this money that you're giving or we're giving you, and then this is what you deliver. Like, come on, man. It feels like so much of the new riff track stuff feels dialed in. And
well, and I mean, running out of movies, if they're picking something that's pretty universally held as like
a pretty good movie.
Fun, yeah.
One of the best Catherine Bigelow movies there is, right here.
I mean, what are they? They're just gonna be like, Brody, and they're like, oh, see what I did there, dude?
I said what he said. Yeah. Vote for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's don't disrespect Point Break like that. Come on.
Yeah, don't disrespect it like they did when they remade it as a completely different movie and just called it Point Break, and it was
so stupid.
Turds.
So stupid.
Yeah.
Night Owlishly on Twitch said, I tried to get into it and I couldn't. I'm assuming you mean Mystery Science Theater 3000.
I never liked MST3K either. I never did.
I love the design of it. I really wanted to love it. And in fact, I love the things that I liked about Mystery Science Theater 3000 were the parts where they're not in the theater, like watching the movie, like the interactions of the characters and the story around it. Those were always the better parts to me. Sometimes there were some movies where I was laughing out loud back in the original handful of seasons, but I never got into that worship. I feel like people that are like really into Doctor Who are also, because there's a special breed of nerd that's like into Doctor Who, and you know who you are. I'm not saying this is a bad thing. I'm just saying you're nerds, and you know, it's okay. It's okay to be a big nerd. But yeah, as Vince says on Twitch, not everything is for everyone, and choices are nice. I just say personally, I tried. I wanted to because I was jealous of all the passion and camaraderie that these people were getting out of Mystery Science Theater, and you know, I gave it its due diligence, and it's okay. It's all right. I don't dislike it, but I don't think riff tracks Point Break. Not my riff tracks. Anyway, all right. That's what's coming out in theaters. Let's talk about movies that are already in theaters. Let's talk about Trap, which came out this past weekend. Let's go into that one. Trap, of course, the new movie from M. Night Shyamalan. It's a new M. Night Shyamalan experience, as the poster says. Stop fucking calling your movies experiences. Stop plastering your name all over it. I feel like the worst part of the new M. Night Shyamalan movies is the fact that he's trying to brand himself as a style. He's not Wes Anderson, and he's not Steven Spielberg. M. Night Shyamalan is I'm going to say it, a very good director. He can craft a scene. It has great attention to detail. He has a very, very good way of getting good performances out of actors. Where he lacks is we all expect a certain thing out of him. And it is something that he only really executed well, like in 4 movies. And everybody said, oh, all M. Night Shyamalan movies have to be spooky scary or twisty. And let this man make a fucking movie. Like, just let him make a movie about, like, something that doesn't have to have a twist ending, doesn't have to see dead people, doesn't have to, you know, whatever, doesn't have to be a horror movie. And I feel like when so many audience members go into these movies thinking like, I'm going to go see an M. Night Shyamalan experience, and they go, oh man, I can't even wait to find out like what mind fuckery is going to happen at the end of this, because it's going to be better than anything I haven't imagined. And it's like not. It's just a story about a serial killer getting caught, you know, and that's all it is, you know. And I will say that Trap, for me, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a perfectly good movie about a serial killer. I thought it was a little heavy-handed on M. Night Shyamalan's daughter. I feel like it was a vessel to try and promote her musical career. She plays the role of Lady Raven, which most of this movie takes place at a Lady Raven concert, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's a cool catalyst for an idea. There's this. So if you guys haven't seen the trailer, Josh Hartnett, who's the best part of the movie, he's an amazing character actor. He carries this movie on his absolute shoulders. And his daughter, Riley, they are going to see her favorite band ever, which is Lady Raven. And she's a pop star. I mean, just like all these current pop stars, very, very similar. But M. Night Shyamalan's daughter wrote, performed, and recorded all these original songs for the movie. And they don't play like, if you were taking a movie, what's the... I'm thinking of a movie where everybody's trapped in an arena, Snake Eyes with Nicolas Cage. You know, they're trapped in, it's a boxing match, right? And they're trapped in this arena, or isn't there an Under Siege like 4 or something? They're trapped in an arena. There's a
Jean-Claude Van Damme movie.
That's what I'm thinking about. Where they're trapped in an arena.
The hockey arena. I can't remember what it's called.
But what happens in those movies is, yes, they're trapped in an arena, and it'll occasionally show you some of the stuff that's happening either in the ring or on the stage or whatever, as like this is going on while we're here crafting the story about this character that's got a problem. This was like, hold up, next song, we're going to show you the whole song. And from start to finish. And they did it like 8 times. There was 8 full song performances by M. Night's daughter. And
the twist is that it's just M. Night's Tasteway movie. What was that?
Oh, yes. The what did she call that?
Sudden Death, yeah.
The Taylor Swift thing?
Eras Tours.
Eras,
yeah. That's the twist, is that it's the Salika Shyamalan's Eras Tours.
And so that was my biggest issue with this movie, is it focused too much on that, because by the time they escape the arena, right, and that's where the movie gets interesting. And there's like this cat and mouse game between, you know, Josh Hartnett's character and Salika Shyamalan's character, as they try to, he is now revealed as this butcher. He was a serial killer, and then the daughter finds out, and you know, it spent so much time being in that arena and so much time on M. Night Shyamalan's daughter's music that it kind of screwed up anything that could have made this a really, really cool like serial killer movie. And you know, I watched an interview with M. Night Shyamalan. He was just talking about like why he wanted to make this movie and why Josh Hartnett chose to take the role, because Josh Hartnett doesn't usually like playing characters like this. But he's like, oh, I thought it'd be a really interesting challenge and blah, 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 blah. But he was like, yeah, serial killers are fascinating and scary characters. And he's like, this isn't like a slasher movie. There's no blood and guts. It's not supposed to make you scared. But it's like these serial killers are all around us. Like, they're real. They exist, you know. And he's like, that to me is scary. And he wanted to tell a story about this serial killer that did exist, had a real life, a duality of life. But then, you know, when those two lives meet, where he's trying to be a dad for his daughter, and then the serial killer intersect, and he's like, how do I keep these separate? How do I keep these separate? Oops, I can't. And then everything falls apart. Like, that was actually kind of interesting. But they screwed it all up with trying to, you know, make it about this concert. Kurt Lunsford on Twitch says, I was hoping the whole time the twist was the guy that we were following wasn't the butcher. That's the problem. You are hoping the whole time for a twist. Like, we need to stop thinking about M. Night as a twist guy.
That's Vince's next thing here. Want to know what the twist is. He said he doesn't want to know what the twist is, but was there one?
No, there's no twist.
Oh.
Like, I don't want a twist. Twist endings are over. I think that when you expect a twist ending, you're going to get let down, because now that when you expect a twist, you manufacture in your head there was no twist. I'm gonna tell you at the end, he doesn't die. There's no twist. There wasn't a twist. It's like classic like serial killer movie or classic, you know, heist movie where you think you got him and it's like, but did they? You know, it's like that's not a twist. That's just you know, he's smart. The twist, as his wife said it, that didn't strike me as a twist, because when you take that out of context, so there was a scene.
Spoilers.
It's not a big spoiler, because by that point you're already divested in the movie. You know, he's like, how did they catch me? How did they catch me? You know, how did they know about that thing? And you find out that the wife was nervous and thinking that he was having an affair, and then, you know, planted the ticket when he found that weird safe house, and planted the ticket so that the feds would follow him up. That's not really a twist. It's just like, I see that kind of stuff in all these other movies. They're like, okay, well, how did they catch him? Because of this. That's not a twist. That's called a plot device. And you know, Alison Pill, who is pretty cool as well. She was in the last Picard series. I just think that was something that they just saved that information to the end, and M. Night Shyamalan audiences want to make it a twist, and when really it's just a part of good storytelling. You know, instead of just leaving it out, like the authorities were onto him, they were like, well, this is how, and it's because the wife. And it again addressed this, like, the character, and I can see where Shyamalan was going with writing it, because it was a clever character build where it's like he kept saying, how do I keep these lives separate? And, you know, he was trying so hard to keep these lives separate, but then they kept spilling into each other, where the wife was suspicious even, but didn't know how to address it, you know. And so that was spilling in without him even being aware of it, you know. And so these two things were overlapping, and he's like, okay, how do I be a dad? How do I be a husband? How do I be a serial killer? You know, not Dexter, clearly. But yeah, I think they could have made it a lot better if they had kept Suleika Shyamalan out of 30 minutes of that movie. Yeah. But Josh Hartnett is awesome to watch. I will watch Josh Hartnett in anything. Even Bunraku, which is a weird and fun journey.
Or what's that movie with him and Harrison Ford that was like the last movie he did for a long time?
Oh, that was right before he had a kid.
Yeah, it was called like Hollywood something.
Yeah, and that was one of the reasons
they were cops, and
that was one of the reasons he took a big break from acting, is because he had a kid. Let's see, let me go back. Wild Horses? No, that was 2015. He took a big break in 2011, Stuck Between Stations.
It was called like,
and then he took a big break
Hollywood
after
Homicide or
Six
something.
Below. And then he took a big break after, let's see, Hollywood Homicide. I'm trying to see where that was.
That would have been like early 2000s, I think.
Because he takes big breaks from acting, but I don't think that.
Yeah, we had a couple people here in the comments. Yeah.
Well, he didn't. Yeah, I mean that was 2003, and he was.
I guess he didn't stop. But I mean, the point is, would you watch that movie? Is the whole thing, I guess, because.
Yeah, of course. It's Josh Hartnett, man.
Okay.
He's great. He's so much fun. Lucky Number 11, great. Black Dahlia, great. He's pretty good in 30 Days a Night, even though that's a weird-ass movie. Bunraku, a lot of fun. You know, Penny Dreadful, pretty cool. Yeah, I like Josh Hartnett. I don't know why. I think he's cool. And he was in The Bear recently. Yeah, he was in The Bear. Okay, well, yeah, there it is. It's in theaters right now. You can check it out if you want. Trap. I don't think you need to rush out and see it in the movie theater unless you just want to support movies like that. I think it'd definitely be something you could watch at home when it hits streaming. But, you know, I always am under the impression of go see movies like this in theaters, because if you don't, we're only going to get things like Borderlands, Deadpool, Avengers, and, you know, go take a chance on a movie that you may or may not think you're going to enjoy in a theater, just to get out of the house and go support a theater, go support a movie that is not these, you have to go see it because it's making $1 billion in the box office. Half the time, those are the worst ones to see. So, see a small movie in the theater. It's fun. It's good. And you're supporting. You're not supporting it when you watch it on streaming, you know, because they actually aren't legally bound to share any of the streaming data on how many people actually watch that with consumers or even the people that are in those movies. So that's been, you know, we talked about that, a couple years ago. There was a whole lot of things where everything was trying to move to streaming, and they're like, hey, we don't get paid when things hit streaming. And
I think we talk about it fairly frequently every time new stuff comes around about it. Yeah.
So, okay, well, there's that. And then I guess that just leaves us with the box office report. So I'm going to turn things over to Jake for the box office roundup for the weekend of August 2nd through the 4th, 2024. We give you the top 10 movies in America. Mostly stick to domestic numbers. We'll throw you some worldwide numbers for some of these big boys out there. But yeah, if you wanna give it a go, number 10.
Yeah, here we go. Number 10, something kind of exciting from Fathom Studios, a movie that will be showing 2 more days. Ponyo brought in $800,000 here in the theaters. Ponyo is one of the few Ghibli movies I've not sat and watched in its entirety. It's very boring to me.
Yeah, Ponyo, I've seen it. I saw it in the theater when it first came out, and it's not my favorite, but it's cute.
But it's
fun.
there. It's a Ghibli movie. A lot of people like it. It's one of the newer ones, but that's there. You can
I'm glad that it made 800. That's in the top 10. That's cool.
In the top 10,
that's really
you can
cool.
go to get a Ghibli experience. And then at number 9, The Firing Squad, and its opening weekend brought in $893,000. It's a Christian movie
Faith-based.
about people that are prisoners in like a foreign country or something like that. Third world country, it says in the description. I don't think you can still use that.
If you're them, I guess you can.
Yeah, but based on a true story, it's just a faith-based film, so it's definitely going to be a lot of like, well, God kept me alive, stuff like that. That's out there if that's your kind of thing. And then at number 8, dropping from the number 6 spot, A Quiet Place, Day 1, brought in another $1.38 million. 6 weeks out, it's brought in 137.4 in the U.S., another 121.5 across the world, 260 million. They were real hyped to tell everyone that it was doing really well, and it slowed to a halt.
That's because that movie was stupid.
Yeah, but I'm sure they'll still say that was a success. And then just above it, at number 7, dropping from the number 5 spot, Long Legs, and its 4th week out has brought in $4 million again, bringing its domestic take up to $67 million, which
all
is
kinds of money.
Probably plenty of profit for that movie for sure. Opening at number 6, Harold and the Purple Crown, $6 million brought in for that one.
Not a great opening.
Yeah, they're not really happy about that one. But I've never heard of Harold and the Purple Crown. I know they said it's like a kid's book thing or something like that.
I don't know if a lot of kids have ever heard of it.
Yeah,
either.
it might have been pretty niche, but so that one's out there. And then above it at number 5, Inside Out 2, hanging in there, $6.8 million this past week in its 8th week out. $627 million in the U.S. alone. Another $930 million across the globe. $1.55 million billion.
$1 billion, officially putting it in the top 10 all time.
Pushing Avengers out.
Yep.
And then just over it at number 4, Despicable Me 4, $11.5 million this past week, $314 million in the U.S. and it's 5 weeks out, another 440 across the globe. It's brought in $750 million so far in its 5 weeks out.
Damn Minions, man.
Yeah, so Minions making bucks too. And then opening at the number 3 spot, the movie you just told us about.
Yeah.
Trap.
Number 3.
15.5 brought in by that one. Probably not the kind of opening that they were planning on.
But they're going up. I mean, look what they're going up against, man. You know, it's that kind of movie because it's not scary, it's not gory, it's not whatever. It's not going to have long legs. You know, it's a thriller.
No, but and it might still hold on through next week because there's not a lot of strong offerings coming out next week.
But the reviews ain't been great.
Yeah, but they won't fill that gap. And even the reviews haven't been good for Long Legs or whatever. People are still watching it, you know. So we'll see how that one goes. And then staying at the number 2 spot, Twisters brought in another $22.8 million. 3 weeks out, it's brought in $196 million. Another $80 million across the world. How about that?
That's surprising to me because it seems like a very America-centric, you know, like, hey, dude, tornadoes, man.
Tornadoes happen other places too, just not as much as here.
Well, and not filled with a bunch of rednecks.
Well, 275 million brought in by that one so far across the globe. And then holding on to its number 1 spot in its 2nd week out, $97 million brought in, bringing a domestic total of $395.4 million by Deadpool Wolverine, another $430 million across the globe.
It's wild.
$824 million so far.
In 2 weekends.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
So that one's probably going to push out Inside Out too.
Yeah, it's going to be, and being a rated R movie. I mean, that's probably going to slowly take the top spot of worldwide rated Rs. So, like we talked about earlier. But anyway, there you go. There's your box office roundup. That's the top 10. We will be back next week. Do not forget that we do this every single week. Let's see. Night Ashley over on Twitch says Night Owlet wanted to see Deadpool, but Grandma said no and took her to Minions instead. Yeah, I think that was probably a good move. And also over on our Discord channel, if you want to get more information about this, there is going to be a watch along this week on Wednesday. We're going to do the last Dirty Dancing, lastnamewithheld.com. Over there, you can get more info on our Discord, but that's where it's going to be. We're joining their server, and you can watch that movie live on the stream with comments and fun stuff from other film fans. But with that said, don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you like to subscribe. You can find all our links over on our link tree. It's driveinspeakerbox.com. Subscribe to our Discord. You can jump in there and chat with Vince and Velvet Santa about a lot of various things, or us occasionally. We're in there too. So we will be back next week. Jake, is there any other things that you need to remind these people of?
I don't know. Check your local movies. Sometimes you might be surprised about what you'll find out there. Even if some of the bigger ones we talked about, you might find a fun foreign film or a re-release of a movie that is only available near you. Mm-hmm. Find something to go watch. Enjoy the movie theater.
All right, guys. We're out of here. We're gonna stick around for a couple more minutes on Twitch to open some gifts given to us by Velvet Santa. But for the rest of you guys, we're out of here. We'll see you next week.
As you leave the theater, folks, please be careful. Don't let this happen to your car. Be sure to remove the speaker before you leave. If you should accidentally pull a speaker loose, please turn it in at our snack bar or box office. Thank you.